Hey everybody, welcome back to Nikki T Live. I'm your host Nick Taylor, and today I'm hanging out with my friend Rizel Scarlett. Rizel, how you doing today? Oh, I can't
Can't
hear
hear
you.
me, sorry.
Oh, there we go.
I'm
That's all
good,
good.
how are
That's all
you
good.
doing?
I'm doing really well. I was for a second there. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just start learning to lip read.
That could be a good skill to pick up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of people probably know you are. I say that always like in my Twitter bubble, but for folks that might not know who you are, do you mind just giving a little rundown of who you are and like what you're up to these days?
Yeah, I'm sure tons of people don't know who I am, but thank you. Yeah, my name is Rizel Scarlett, but I often go by Black Girl Bites on like Twitter and all the places. And what I'm doing right now is I work at a company called TBD. And I found out, I mean, not that recently, but when I started working here, I realized the company does have a name. It's to be decentralized. I thought they were like still
Okay, I
thinking
didn't. I
about.
always wondered what the
Did you feel
name
the
meant.
same?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what does it mean? But that's what it means. And basically working, I'll dive into it a little bit more, but we're working on a lot of different things to um create more decentralization. But there's like three different things that I think we're doing, or three different things that I would like kind of summarize. We're trying to like
Okay.
enable global payments. We're trying to basically help you to own your data, and then we're also trying to make identity a little bit more seamless for folks. And before
Okay.
that, I worked at GitHub, and yeah, I'm a developer advocate.
Yeah, cool, cool. And we're gonna get into it. We've got a fun project. We're gonna do something with a phone app, and we got a repo that I cloned that you were mentioning. Um,
Yeah.
I guess I know you were mentioning this on socials, but in terms of explaining some of the things. So like, I guess my first question is like I dabbled a bit in Web3, like I built some decentralized apps just checking it out and stuff. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's called Web 5 because it's the best of Web 3 and the best of Web air quotes Web 2, which is what people would call what
That we use
today's web
today.
development is.
Yeah, yeah. I would say exactly what you just said. It's taking like these different principles. So they like the idea of decentralization, and like one of their things that people often say is like Tim Berners-Lee, he initially intended for the internet to be decentralized. So they're trying to
Yeah,
like kind of tap back into the like those old feel not old feelings, but those like nostalgic feelings. And then
yeah.
they're not trying to like completely erase whatever has been going on in Web 2, because we do recognize that that's been
Okay.
cool. But I would say when people are asking about like what's the difference between Web 3 and Web 5, I don't really know that much about Web 3, but some of the differences I have seen is that like Web 3 is more heavily dependent on the blockchain. So, and then I guess
Okay.
with the blockchain, there's like transactions that happen. I don't know. Have you seen that when you were toying around with Web 3, where like when I talk to people, they're like, oh, if you were going to make like an Instagram app, it would have to charge somebody to do these different like interactions on that application.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not like super well versed in blockchain, but I do understand the principle. So it's think of it like yeah, basically anything you do, it just gets logged to a ledger, which is gets stored in a blockchain, and uh, it's basically like all events that have happened, and the the thing that people used to mention about it is like say you go to a traditional bank and I don't know, maybe I get charged for something and I was like, oh no, I wasn't supposed to get charged for that, and they'll just be like, well, I'll remove that charge, and
Mm,
it doesn't necessarily reflect in that long term. Like the charge will be gone, but like in the context of like blockchain chain on the ledger, it's like it'll show okay, Nick was charged $50, and then there'll be another transaction that says this was incorrect. But maybe that's not the best example. But I know basically once it goes on the blockchain, it's like there forever. So like mistakes will be visible, but the corrections will too.
Yeah, for
But
like the tampering
but again, I'm
evidence.
not super well versed in it. So,
Yeah. I think Web5 is different in that way where like if you were to build a simple app like that, it's not as heavily dependent on the blockchain. In fact, we only I think we're like really close to being able to enable to people to build decentralized apps without relying on like blockchain at all. So like I would say
okay.
that's like one like huge difference. And then um we're really more about like owning your data. So you have these personal like data stores where you can decide here's how I think you yeah, there it is. You can decide like here's who I want to share my data with and here's how I want to share that particular data. So you have
Yeah.
control over that. And then we have another SDK called TBDEX, which is basically enabling people to um make global payments easier, right? I think you're in Canada, so I
Yeah.
don't know, does Canada have like Zelle and Cash App and Venmo?
We have, what's it called? I have, uh, PayPal, which is like
Okay,
I feel like that's okay boomer, kinda stuff, uh,
That's
but, uh
2001. I'm
yeah,
kidding.
yeah, but I there's a lot of cash apps that are in the States that I don't think we have because, like, yeah, somebody's asked me before, "Can I just Venmo it to you?" When I got paid for something, and I was like, "Oh, I don't have it," and then it was like, "Oh, I got PayPal," and they're like, "Oh, okay." So, there's other things you can use, but they're more like kinda like a traditional bank, I set up wise.com recently
Okay,
just to
I've seen
because
folks that use.
'cause I think, because I have a GitHub sponsors page now, and I think it's gonna get sent to that, or maybe it's to my bank account. I can't remember, but there's stuff like that, but, like, all those cash apps, there's a lot of them that, as far as I know, aren't available in Canada, so,
Mm. Yeah, and that's
yeah.
like the problem we're trying to no, one of the problems we're trying to solve. We have like multiple SDKs for different things. And like
Okay.
one of those problems is like, yo, global payments, like sending money from like one country to another is hard. Like I have family in like Guyana in South America. And for me to send
Yeah.
money to them, I have to go to like a check cashing place like Western Union and they give me like a
Yeah.
money order and I gotta send it to them and then they gotta go to a check cashing place and it's super annoying. So they're trying to like basically streamline that entire process by creating this SDK. And then the last
Okay.
thing, which is what we're going to work on more today, like or focus more on today, is like we're
Yeah.
trying to streamline the process of like proving your identity as well. Um, and that is through a W3C spec called verifiable credentials. So TBD is not the first people to be working with verifiable or organization to be working with verifiable credentials. I've been like
Okay.
looking it up and like Okta has, Microsoft has, like a lot of people
Oh,
are
no way.
dabbling.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's like a known thing. I thought this was just like a TBD thing. I think the thing that we're doing that makes it a little different is we're trying to use verifiable credentials for financial payments. And you're probably like, I don't know what a verifiable credential is. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, well,
but
this is kinda like where, I'm kind of confusion is not the word, but, we were talking briefly about Web3 and there's the blockchain, so, like, whenever you do a transaction, like payment or whatever it is, it shows up on there, and I'm curious if 'cause I 'cause because I don't really know too much about TBD, uh, I was under the impression it was using blockchain, but it appears to not be, as you mentioned, so I'm curious, we'll get into the verifiable credentials for sure, but I'm curious, if you're not using because blockchain is essentially, like, the database for Web3, and I'm curious,
yeah,
I guess, I don't know if what instead of blockchain, what is,
what's being
Web5
used?
using? Yeah,
Yeah, I can dig into that a little bit. I do want to focus on the verifiable credentials, but okay, I can dig into
yeah.
what's
Oh, yeah, we
going
can
on
just
behind.
talk about it briefly, yeah.
Yeah, I got you. And I do want to clarify a little bit. There are a little bit of parts that are Okay, let me start from the beginning because I was gonna say we
Okay.
do there is a little bit that is on the blockchain. First
Okay.
first thing that you gotta know about are decentralized identifiers. And
Okay.
those are like your IDs, because this is gonna help me explain the rest of it. But those are
Yeah,
like
yeah,
your
no, no,
ID.
go for it.
Yeah, and you can even if you look up, yes, there we go. It is a W3C spec as well, and those are like
Okay.
your unique IDs on the internet. So oftentimes like our identity is like fragmented on the web, like
Okay.
for me creating like Black Girl Bites on GitHub and Black Girl Bites on Twitter, those are even though it's still me, they don't have any
Yeah.
connection to each other. So
Okay.
having a decentralized identifier, which is like this alphanumeric string, allows you to be able to be like, hey, I want to still be this same, I want that data to be shared across um different Web5 apps. I want to still be that same person.
Okay.
And I can pause. Right. And then the
Yeah.
next thing when you're asking, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna pause for 1 sec because I just wanted to say hi to Ace. Ace is in the chat,
Oh,
so hey, Ace.
I don't, let me open the chat.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't even,
like the stream together that you're on, there should be a Twitch tab you should see for chat there.
gotcha. I see it. Cool.
Yeah,
And
cool.
then the
Oh, hey,
other thing
Lima.
was,
Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
hey,
Too many people joining
sorry.
chat. Not it's not a
Let
bad
me
problem.
pause. Let me pause. Hey y'all. The other thing is the when you're asking about the database like thing is we've our company created this thing called decentralized web nodes, or sometimes called DWNs for short. And I'll just
Okay.
pause so you can like, I know you might want to Google it
Yeah,
or
and
something.
can you
Yeah.
repeat can you repeat what it is again?
Decentralized web nodes. Oh, are you
Centralized.
using Arc? How has Arc been?
Oh, pretty good. I've been using it for like a year and a half now. It's my
Ooh,
go-to. I use it all the time. It hurt my brain for like the first week, but there's just so much about it that I love. Like the vertical tab, sorry, the vertical tabs is one thing, but there's like a command bar. There's all kinds of things, and it's
that's cool.
I find it really helpful. Okay, so let's hear. Are they decentralized web nodes? Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
correct.
cool. I'll
So
drop that in
that's
the
like,
chat.
yeah. When you're asking about like databases, this is going to be like your personal data store, and you can
Okay.
store whatever you want in there. Um and so let me see if I could describe it well. Basically, let's say you, Nick, right? You'll have a decentralized identifier. It
Yeah.
is no one else can steal it because it's like cryptographically signed. It's this alphanumeric string, and that's how you
Hmm.
authenticate into your data store. And you can store whatever you want inside of there. You can
Okay.
store audio, images, text, whatever. And the only way that other people would get access to that data is if you say, yes, I want Rizel, or I want Ace or Lima to have access to this particular data. Like I want them to be able to see the images that I
Oh, okay.
created on this particular web app. I hope
Okay,
that
that's
was
cool.
that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no. So yeah, so you got your one-stop shop for your own stuff, and you can share it as you see fit. Assume, I mean, obviously that would need to be programmed, or there's some UI based
Yeah.
on whatever the app is. But okay, that's cool. I didn't realize because I, like I said, I have very limited knowledge about Web3, but like I think it was like in Web3 everything was just public. Like sometimes it might be hard to find it, but it was always publicly available. And I
Mm,
know that like there was ways to they put like a layer on top of it to make it private by like basically encrypting it, and it's still on the blockchain. So this
mm.
is different, even though I'm like I said not super well versed with Web3. It seems to provide more power because one, it's potentially private by default, and then you can share as you see fit, like depending on what you're doing, I guess.
Yeah, so yeah, there's this mechanism called protocols, and you might see it on the left hand side, or maybe that's your
Yeah.
right hand side. I don't know. Yeah, and that's that's what enables you to share data from the DWN you own to someone
Okay.
else's DWN. Yeah. And you
Uh,
can say, like, I want this data to be default public, or you're like, I want this to only be seen by these particular people with these particular roles or whatever. You can specifically send um data from your decentralized identifier or your DWN to my DWN by saying, "Hey, I want to send it to Rizel, and Rizel's decentralized identifier is DID 12345 6, whatever."
Okay. Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
but I don't know that much about Web3 either, so we're in the same boat. I'm like, I know about
Yeah.
Web5 and Web2.
Yeah. Well, and I know one thing I at least one well there's obviously several criticisms about Web3 like basically spam, NFTs, all, like a lot of stuff like just a lot of bad actors in that space, but I mean it's the internet, there's always going to be bad people, but I know one common complaint was always like it's super slow, like the blockchain is slow. So like even if your
Mm,
stuff is decentralized, like loading it up is slow and there's efforts to make that faster,
I
but
didn't know that.
from what I read and because like I know some people that work in blockchain and they basically create a layer on top which isn't decentralized to make it faster. So like basic maybe like a traditional database doing something to just index it, make it faster or whatever. So I know that's definitely been one common complaint. In terms of Web5, like, is it like the underlying technology? Is it pretty fast, or I don't know if you know the answer to that or not? Because I know you're
I
still ramping up on all this stuff too. So
I don't know in comparison to Web3, but
okay,
it seemed decent. Like it seemed like the a very similar experience to what I've had in Web2.
okay,
Yeah,
cool, cool.
yeah, yeah.
Also, complete side note, but I love the branding of TBD. I like the strong
That's
yellow and stuff,
good.
and I I should have scheduled putting it on, but I got my hoodie and my t-shirt from you from when we did the open source stream. So super comfortable.
Yay!
Uh,
Oh
you
my
know how
God,
like
you're
so,
so good.
you know how like some hoodies or like t-shirts, they're just like rough on your skin. And I put it
Yes,
on and I was like, I thought I was like floating in a cloud or something. So
I
anyway,
love it.
swag shout out.
Shout out to I think Ebony and maybe Julie at my company. I mean not at my company, but at TVD. I think they're
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ones that like did those designs. So shout
yeah.
out to
And
them.
yeah, and Toma in the chat saying they love the design of the website as well. So shout out to the designers who
Yeah.
and the
And
web devs that
shout
built
out
it.
to Nick as well in the stream cuz he's like the one managing him and his team are like the one like managing this whole website and making sure it looks cute and it's accessible. So shout out to them.
There we go. Whoop whoop. Okay, so we've kind of so we've touched on so there's protocols to define those things.
Yeah.
Um, I guess we're definitely gonna dig into the repository that you sent me. Um,
Yeah.
is there anything else you want to touch on the web nodes? Essentially, what I got from it is that's think of that as like your Google Drive of Web5. This is everything you own, and
On point. Yes,
yeah,
that's like the way we often describe it. It is like your Google Drive, but you own it. You have access to it. You have the rights to it. That's perfect. I don't think I want to say too much about the centralized web nodes because I can go on forever about them.
okay,
But you can if you wanted to click the verifiable credentials section on the left hand. And
yeah,
thanks for like making me slow down because I was like speed, speed, speed. So oh,
yeah, yeah.
someone
No
just got
worries. Oh, what's that? Oh, they just got theirs too. Oh, okay. Hey, Chris.
that's
Thanks for joining. Yeah, I
that's
got. I'm trying to remember where I. This is my open sourced one, but I've been. I honestly like. I'm not just saying it because you're on the stream. I was wearing it all last week because it was so comfortable. It's like in Montreal, it's not freezing cold right now, but it there's like there's a lot of
chilly.
humidity here. So like even when it's not super cold, it just you feel it in your bones, kind of, you know. So I've been a bit. It's been hoodie weather for me typically, but
You made me think I need to order a hoodie. I have not. Yeah. um,
cool, cool.
but so this page kind of like describes verifiable credentials, and it's another W3C spec. I would like to describe like a lot of what Web5 is like taking these specs and bringing them to life in the form of like a programming language so we can actually use it. But I can like
Okay.
describe what a verifiable credential is, or like let's talk about like how you manually prove your identity or prove your identity on the internet and in real life right now, and then
Okay.
what it could look like. So like
Yeah, for
right
sure.
now, oh sorry, what'd you say?
N no, I said for sure. Yeah, so
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Right now, like if you let me see. Right now, if you're like on the internet and like you need to log in, sometimes they do like multi-factor authentication and they're like, okay, go get this code from your text messages, blah blah blah. And sometimes that's like inconvenient, but like the idea is like to stop you from like getting fraud, right? And then in person, I don't know if what you all have in like Canada, but the place that we go to like register ourselves or get driver's license is called like the Department of Motor Vehicles, or in
okay.
Massachusetts it's the Registry of Motor Vehicles. What is it called in Canada? Is it the same?
I don't know outside of Quebec where I'm at, 'cause it's everything's French here. It's,
Oh,
s Société Association Automobile Québec. It's I guess it's probably called the DMV in the other provinces, I'm guessing, or, I'm
okay.
actually curious now.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
like so interesting. Also, like one of your streams, you were speaking French, and I was like, "What? He speaks French?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you like live in Montreal." Um,
yeah, no, actually, Thomas, who's in the chat, he's the one, I did the stream with. Okay, yeah,
oh, okay.
this is my
Okay.
car DMV, but Ontario get driver's license. I'm just curious because nobody's ever
Yeah,
asked that.
me too. Ministry of
Requirement.
something. I just seen. I don't know where it
Yeah.
went. The official
Minis
Ministry of
uh, tr
Transportation.
okay, so maybe that's what it is. There you
Okay,
go.
cool. So let's
Yeah.
say we went to, I don't know how to say the French one, but let's say we went to the official Ministry of registration and you're like, all right, I want to get a driver's license or a permit, whatever. And they want to know like stuff about you to prove that you are who you say you are so they can give you this ID. They're like, I need to know
Yeah.
like your your proof of address, the fact that you've been paying bills. I felt like I don't know, when I was 16, I was mad stressed out by that because I was like, I don't pay bills. Like I was trying to find mail and different like my birth certificate, and also I'm not born in America, so I had to have like
Okay.
additional things to prove my identity. But
Okay.
verifiable credentials would kind of streamline this entire process. At least that's how I would think of it, right? Because
Yeah.
um I would we can use, I think if you scroll down a little bit, there's like a good example in here of like proving that you got a degree at college or something like that.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
Maybe
this one
there's
here.
not a picture. Yeah, I thought there was a
Yeah.
picture. But let's
Here,
say
I'll z
you're college, you finish college, you
yeah.
graduate, and they issue you a credential saying like, yes, this person finished college, they have a degree in computer science.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to get employed or something like that, instead of needing to like show a whole bunch of different stuff and like go through this whole long background check process, inside of your phone you have your like a credential that says, hey, I'm a degree holder, and you can just show it to them and you're good.
Okay.
And then like the example that we're going to do today, I think might like maybe even make more sense or speak to you more, is like
Okay.
checking if you are of legal age to drink.
Okay.
So like right now, if you have to show proof that you can drink, right, you got to show your ID, and that exposes people to knowing a little bit more about you than they really need to know, right? Like they just need
Mhm.
to know if you're like over 21 or not. They don't really need to know your full name and your address and all that, but all of that is on your ID, and you're kind of like exposing yourself to more fraud. And for
Yeah.
me, as someone that will like lose my ID, I lose my ID a lot. So, um this basically you could get issued, what I kind of like simulated is like, let's say the DMV issues you like you can legally drink verifiable credential, you store it in your phone, and then when you
Okay.
go to a bar or you go to a store and you're buying alcohol, you just tap your phone cuz the credentials inside of your phone, and it just says yes, this person is allowed to drink. They don't need to know any more
Okay.
details. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
for some reason I had a hard time figuring out like how would it be stored in your phone, but it's kind of like how you have like an Apple Pay wallet with your debit cards and stuff like that, or like Google Pay wallet. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense, and it losing your identity is so weird. Like
Yeah.
if you're, because like for example, my passport's still valid for like another 8 years, I think. But in Canada, at least, the way it works is like say my passport's gonna expire, or say my passport's expired right now. I get a 6 month grace period where I can just go in and I can say, here's my old passport, and they give me a new one. But if you lose your passport and say your driver's license, then it's like hell
Over.
to say like who I am, right? You know,
Yeah.
like there's birth certificate as well, but like then it's like it's this has never happened to me, so thank God. But like if you like have to prove who you are, it's very difficult because it's like, well, I lost my my documents that prove who I am. It's interesting that like I think it's kind of a perfect storm too, because like obviously a lot of stuff is going digital. There's still or most things are digital. Like I don't know about you, but like when I pay for things, I'm always using either my iWatch or my phone if my iWatch is dead. And
Yeah.
it's rare. The only time I have to pull out a credit card is like if it's more than like $250, because like depending on what you're
Yeah.
buying. But like typically groceries, unless it's Costco, it's like I can just tap. Um, and there's definitely convenience there for sure, but also like the fact that like I guess you could have these credentials stored on multiple devices, or like you probably have backup codes, kind of like 2FA, I'm assuming. Like if ever you like say you lost your phone or something, you could still recover it, I imagine, or
Hmm. That's a good question. That that I'm not too sure of. I know. Okay, so that's something I should look into. But what my brain is saying, right, is like, um, we have. Oh, so basically, these wallets are in Web5. We're calling them agents, and they
okay,
are kind of connected to our decentralized web nodes, or they can be, right? Like you can store this data in there, and there's like remote DWNs that are like in the cloud, and then you have your
okay,
local one. So I'm imagining that if you lost it, and you have your decentralized identifier, you can just type that decentralized identifier in and like get back all that stuff that you have, because you don't need. Oh, I think I like skipped through this because I wanted to get to the
oh yeah,
verifiable credentials. But with a decentralized identifier, you don't need like a username and password. You just need
okay,
that identity, that DID. And if you click it, I think you can see what a decentralized identifier looks like. It's like
yeah, okay,
this, yeah, scroll a little bit more, right?
okay,
So it's like that. It has the did, it has a did method, and then all of these like random numbers. But it's like
okay,
no one can pretend or take it from you, or pretend that it's theirs, because it's like cryptographically signed, with like
okay.
a private key and a public key. So I think if you lost your phone, you would just get another phone and like log in with that decentralized identifier, and you'll get back all your stuff.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on this briefly before, how like it doesn't need, like for example, on Twitter I'm Nikki T Online, on Twitch I'm Nikki T Online, but it's not the same person. It's like separate
Yeah.
accounts, and like say somebody wanted it, I know Twitter's changed people's account names before, or literally
Yes.
taken their accounts. Um, you know, so this kind of feels like kind of like owning your domain name. Like it's not it's similar, it's not the same thing, I know, but like for example, like I'm not really using Blue Sky right now, but like I registered on Blue Sky with my domain, and like it's mine. Like nobody can take that from me, and that was my unique identifier. And like I know a lot of like Twitter doesn't do that, but like but I can kind of see it like that. So it's like it's a good thing because like everything is linked to that one spot, and this gets back to what you were saying about like it's all your data is hopefully associated with that, like I guess like I don't know how old these concepts are, because like you said it's a W3C standard, but I guess going forward, like the work you're doing as a dev advocate and what TBD is doing is they're trying to push for people to build applications with it, obviously, so that
Yeah.
in the future I can be on my not Twitter and here's my DID. I can call myself whatever maybe, but my identity is still this one specific thing. If I'm
Yeah.
on like another thing, or maybe like GitHub or whatever. I don't know where it would get applied to eventually, but like basically creating an ecosystem of applications that use these new technologies.
Yeah, I mean, you said so much, and I feel like you're picking up the concept like pretty quickly. Basically, you brought up Blue Sky, and I got excited because did you know that Blue Sky is using like decentralized identifiers under the hood?
I
You
I
just don't
I
realize
did
it.
not know that.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was I thought it was the domain which was the unique identifier, but okay, that explains why Angie was excited about Blue Sky. Okay.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, they have like this thing called the app protocol, and there's like DIDs, and people don't even realize they're already using it. So that's supposed to be the experience. Like you don't even realize, like it's supposed to be a nice user experience where you don't even realize that,
Okay.
like, oh shoot, I don't have to remember this whole long string. Like I have an alias on top of it, and like you said, you own it.
Okay.
Elon can't be like, actually, I want that handle back, because I mean, and Elon's right. He owns that
Yeah.
because he owns X. But in these situations, you would own yours. And there was something else you said. Oh, I think I wanted to kind of talk about, because this is something that like made more sense to me after a while, is like how you would bring your identity with you. So like,
Hmm.
like how we talked about those wallets. Um,
Yeah.
the way people have described it is kind of like, um when you go to a hotel and you want to sign into Netflix, and
Yeah.
on the TV, right? And like it just gives you a QR code. You could put your phone up, and then it like connects like your credentials from there and signs you into Netflix. Have you ever had that experience? Or if you
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
type, yeah.
Well, not in a hotel, but like I have like a Chromecast on my TV, and
Ooh.
and and it's definitely great when the apps actually give you a QR code, because like I don't know if you've ever had to use like the remote control to put in a like a because like obviously I use a password manager, so like my passwords are usually 100 characters, and I remember one time I'm like moving around and entering 100 characters on the TV app with the little remote, and it was terrible. And then it's like I don't think a lot of them do that now, but like yeah, I signed into Netflix or like Amazon Prime, and it was just yeah, pop your phone and boom, and definitely way better experience.
Yeah, I remember doing the whole typing thing, super annoying. But yeah, it would be like a similar experience where like your your DID is saved in a wallet in your phone, and then you're like, oh, I
Okay.
want to sign into this Web5 application that's within this ecosystem, like you mentioned, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is me. I'm just gonna like scan the QR code or click the link, and it just connects your credentials and identity to that web app, and you get to sign right in. So if
Yeah.
you lost your phone, I think you still have that DID, and you can still take it with you in other places. That's my
Okay.
like, yeah.
Cool, cool.
Cool.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Do you
I
wanna I know we've been talking a lot of about like the technology. Did you wanna
try
uh
it out.
yeah, you want me to open up my VS Code and we can kind of take a peek at
Yeah.
I'll let you talk through it obviously, because I'm not really sure what we're about to jump into.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
okay. Okay, so I've got VS Code open with the project. Did you want me to share that? I can share that project in the chat
Yeah,
if
you
you want.
can. Yeah, you
Okay,
can. And
so
y'all, just so you know, the UI is looking a little rudimentary. Like last minute, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll create like a simulation or something to make this make sense to people. So it's not your cutest app.
no worries, no worries. Okay, I'll just drop that in the chat. Oh, hey, how's it going, Chrissy? Uh, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, so I shared that in the chat. If people want to pull that out, so yeah, you were talking like I can figure out what it is roughly now. You were talking about like legal drinking age, and that's what this repo is called. So I'm assuming that's what we're gonna work with.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, we are. So you can do, I guess this is a Next.js app. You can do npm run dev, and
okay,
then Um, I wonder, are you able to open this is gonna be crazy. Maybe three separate windows?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, actually,
Okay.
well, speaking of Arc, you can do that. So,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
okay, is it the
I
same
literally
page or?
downloaded it like 2 days ago. Yeah, same
Okay,
page, I think, and you just click we'll just click different roles. Like I said, it's
okay,
ugly, and it might not be the exact experience that everyone will have, but I'm just trying to, like, show, and then we can, like,
okay,
look at the code too.
okay. I'm just gonna put something random. Okay, so
Perfect.
cool. Okay, let me, since we've got the three there, since we're not using the code right now, I'll just do
Yeah, we
this
can
and
just do these 3. Yeah, and then after
okay,
that, we can look back at the code. Cool. Like, on one side, click the issuer, and that's gonna be or the issuer button.
okay. Let's click
Cool.
on that.
One?
Okay,
Okay, perfect. And then let's choose subject in the middle, and then let's choose verifier on the right hand.
okay.
Okay,
I'll just shrink it a
cool,
little bit. Okay, there.
cool.
That
Yeah,
should
like
be
I
good for
said, it's
people.
ugly, but that's okay.
It's okay. It
um,
works.
yeah. So on one side, I'm pretending the issuer is like I couldn't really think of like who's the person that's issuing like that you're able to drink, but I was like maybe the DMV because they got your ID details, right? So
Yeah.
they'll say like they'll give you the credential and then their subject will be you, right? Because you're the one that wants to be able to drink. And then the
Okay.
verifier, that's the person that they want to make sure that yes, like we're not giving alcohol to someone who is under age. So maybe that's the bar, or maybe that's like you went to the grocery store or something and trying to buy alcohol. So go
Okay.
ahead and
Yeah.
like fill out your information on the
Okay.
left hand side. And
All
while
right.
you do that, I'll just also point out to people that notice that each person or entity has their own decentralized identifier.
All
And
right.
like that's like their ID on this. Oh no, you
All
have to
right.
show your age. I didn't even think about it.
It's okay. I can put a fake one.
Yeah.
I'm not that I really care, but if folks want to see, I'm almost 50, so all right, there we go. You can wish me a happy birthday on October 26th. There you go.
Oh wow. Happy almost birthday. All right. And then you can make
Uh,
up a city or country if you want.
that's okay. All right. Hopefully that's not too much information. I mean that a lot of that information is publicly available, I think, anyways. So too late.
Okay,
It's already
cool.
on the stream.
All right, and then with that last one that says subjects did, you want to take your decentralized identifier from the second page. Of
Okay.
course, if we had like the whole wallet thing set up easily, it'll be much easier and you wouldn't have to like copy and paste. But this is just to
Okay.
show the process, right? So we're saying,
Okay.
okay, Department of Motor Vehicles is going to give you a verifiable credential that you can drink. So you can do
Okay.
issue credential. And then if
Okay.
you scroll, it gives you a signed JWT or a signed JOT.
Okay.
Um, yeah. And actually, yeah, if you want to copy it, yeah, it doesn't show any
Yeah.
feedback. Do you want to
Yeah.
I'm going to make you open one more
That's
thing
all good.
before we issue it. Oh, but you issued it. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
I
whoops,
just
sorry.
want to go into well, we can look at this, right? On the subject
Yeah.
side, um well, actually, let's go to the other thing that I was going to show so that I
Okay, cool.
can yeah. Um So basically, we have a sign JWT or JOT, whatever. I don't know how. Do you say JOT or JWT?
I say JWT because it's JSON Web Token, but I've heard people say JOT too. So
Me too. I
yeah.
say I say JWT. Okay, cool. I recently heard people say JOT, and I'm like, I never heard that one. Oh wait, but if you go to one more browser, I swear,
Oh no,
I
it's all
won't
good.
make you go to so many. Cool. I just want to show what's inside of that JSON web token. We're basically encoding it so that no one can tamper with it.
Okay.
And I think that's like the you can go to like Google and then like I forget what it's called. Let me just double check. JSON Web Token. Or I think it's like jwt.io. That's what
Okay.
it is. Just so we can see like what's inside of it. And you can paste that that JSON Web Token into right there where
Right
it says
here.
encoded, like delete all that
Okay.
and paste
All
it.
right.
Right. So basically, what you've done as the issuer, or what the Department of Motor Vehicles has done as the issuer, is they created a verifiable credential and then they signed it saying, like, yes, for sure, we're the ones that issued this to Nick. We used
Okay.
our decentralized identifier. Nobody else can pretend. And if you look at the payload, you can see like the details of like that's the issuers did and the
Yeah.
date that they did it and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And I see it's got the information and
Yeah.
okay. Cool.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think the
Yeah.
issuance date, is it the same? Does it say January 24? Or
Uh. Yeah. It does
oh,
here.
yeah, it does. Cool, cool, cool. And you could even put like an expiration date too if you were like this expires at
Okay.
a particular time. Yeah. So
That
that's
that's
what I
actually
want.
sorry, I was just gonna say that's an interesting use case. I know there's other things that do that too, but like having it just having it expires could be pretty neat for certain things like, hey, you have access to this event and then like but it's only for today, or
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I think that um Angie and Ace are gonna like do a workshop and they're gonna
okay.
issue a verifiable credential where you can get swag and it'll expire at a like after the workshop or something like that. So like
Oh, cool.
basically what you're thinking. Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
cool.
cool.
So I just wanted to show you that, but you can close that window with the
Okay.
JSON Web Token. I just wanted to like show you that what's being parsed.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Cool. So like you have this verifiable credential and if you scroll down you see that that's like the little card I made and then
Okay.
you have a QR code. What I was trying to do we'll
Yeah.
do the phone app afterwards, but what I was
Okay,
trying to
cool.
do was make you be able to store that credential in your phone. But it has to be a certain type of verifiable credential. Like you have to format it in a certain way, and I didn't have enough
Okay.
time. And I think it's a bigger um lift than I think it is. So
Okay,
I
okay.
was like, it has to be something called like a OID
Okay.
for VC. Yeah, so like it's like an open ID for verifiable credentials type of format, and I
Okay.
wasn't able to do that yet. But we can still like do a demo process after. And then so
Yeah,
you
that's
have that
cool.
as yourself. Yeah, and like if you pretended, you scanned your phone, you got that QR code, you saved it in your phone, then you can go to the alcohol vendor and go ahead and like paste your JWT inside of the alcohol vendor side.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. And I know
Yeah.
there's a few people that joined, so
Oh, sorry.
I'm just going to no, it's all good. I'm just gonna try and recap and please correct me if any of the logic's wrong. But so we have three things we do. We have is it there's the issuer, the subject is me, right? And then
Yeah,
there's
so this is
the verifier. Is that it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
correct.
Yeah, so for folks just joining, because I know a few just popped in. So we're working, Rizel has this app she created, which basically verifies if you're allowed to drink. So like if you were purchase alcohol or enter a bar. And so I filled out my information. We're pretending like I'm doing this at the DMV or some government office. And so the government has their own DID, which is digital identifier, and that's this
Decentralized identifier.
decentralized. Thank you. And that's basically the keys to say yes, we are real. And so like assume this was me like on their site, or maybe I'm at the DMV or something, and they're getting me to fill this out. I fill it out and then like I submit it and they go, okay, thank you. And then there's this verification process and then it generates a JWT or JOT JSON Web Token. And this can be used to verify if
Yeah.
the information you entered is correct, and it's all with all these technologies, it's all encrypted, so it's not like, maybe at some point in the future, like anything eventually gets hacked, but like the way it's set up, it's like it's pretty much impossible right now to pull out this information unless you're the owner of the information. Um, that's kind of how I understood it. Does that seem okay,
Yeah.
Rizal?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that seems okay. I just got distracted because I realized it said legal drinking age no, but I'm pretty sure that's because I have like a ternary in there, and I think I put it the opposite way. I think I put no
Y-
yes
Yeah,
instead of yes
she,
no.
she's like, okay, if Nick enters his information, he's not allowed to drink beer. That I think that's what happens. So, anyways, all good, all good. uh, yeah, yeah. People are still asking about the DMV. Chrissy's like, there's a DMV in Canada, and I'm just responding, not sure what it's called in Canada. So I'm enjoying the stream, but I didn't realize how fascinated people would be. Like what's the, where do you get your driver's license in Canada? So, anyways,
I was thinking about it the whole time that I was like building out this app. I'm like, I wonder what Nick like has to do. Like, does he go to the DMV? Do they call it something else? But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So violated sign who thanks for joining has been joining my streams pretty frequently lately. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
There's yeah, he's saying thanks for the recap. This super cool project and then exciting to I can't see the under the close pin here. Exciting something. How can it be applied on a broader scope? So I pinned Rizel's repo. That is this demo app. Um, yeah, I guess yeah. So I guess violated signs questions kind of like we're doing this example of pretend verify if you're of legal drinking age, but they're curious about like other applications of like Web5 technologies. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Rizel, or
Yeah, I mean, particularly for verifiable credentials, they can be used for employment. I know that TBD is trying to use them for financial transactions.
okay,
But here's one example, right? On LinkedIn right now, you can verify that you work at a company. You can do that with your email, but I also realized that they're using this thing called Microsoft Entra ID. I think that's what it's called, but that's like that's a type of verifiable credential to like
okay,
to basically say yes, this person does work at this company. So there's lots
yeah,
of different use cases. Anything you want to verify to prove your identity and prove a credential about yourself, you can use a verifiable credential for.
okay, yeah, gotcha. It almost
Yeah.
seems like it's not the official term I know, but I'd almost call it like your internet passport, maybe. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I think that that sounds pretty like a good way to describe it. And if you just paste that jot into the verifier, it should just say like, yeah, this person's good.
okay, yeah, so
There you go.
successful. Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Also,
Yeah.
shout out to Roselle. She whipped up this app really quickly, so she was saying like, don't mind the design and stuff. It's super functional and things are working, but I do appreciate you putting this together because we were chatting for the stream and like she literally sent me this about an hour and a half ago. Like, hey, why don't we try this? So none of this has been like practice or anything. So pretty awesome that everything's working. So.
And shout out to you for being able to like pick up like the idea of decentralized identifiers and stuff like that. Oh, the part about blockchain that I wanted to mention. So like we're mostly not dependent on blockchain right now, but there's
Okay.
different types of decentralized identifiers out there in the world.
Okay.
And the ones that our app uses, we use like did ion. I think Microsoft created that. We use like did key, and then we used did DHT, which is one we made. Did
Okay.
ion that Microsoft created is anchored on the blockchain. Um,
Okay.
so that's the one part. I think right you could see it says DID ion. So we for this app I did use that type of method, and they just
Okay.
there's a lot of different ones that exist because they expose different parts to people. Like they might store two private keys or whatever to people. So
Okay.
there are just different ones in the ecosystem, but that one's anchored on the blockchain. And I think what we did is we created the DHT method. That's our
Okay.
method, and it's not anchored on the blockchain. And once that's like officially complete, like we're
Hmm.
adding more stuff to it, but once that's officially complete, it would be like you can completely build a decentralized app without using the
Okay.
blockchain at all. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm glad you brought that up because it seems like because like you were mentioning at the start of the stream, the decentralized identifier, it's a spec. The people at TBD have implemented this spec to use DHT, but and like you said, Microsoft is using Ion, which is using blockchain. So the the concepts are still there, but like the implementation is different. But that doesn't really matter to an end user. Like we're developers, but like for me, like if at some point like my mom's using this, she's not gonna care if it's on blockchain or whatever TBD uses. It's just really more that whole decentralized identification process that's the important part.
Yeah.
And it also kind of signals that how it is potentially different from Web3 because Web3 has to be on blockchain. From what I
Mhm.
pretty much, I'm pretty like 100% certain like everything is always on blockchain, even if there's other layers on top of it. But in this case, it's really just implementing the spec, and however it's implemented under the hood, it doesn't really matter per se.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, kind of like with the blue sky experience. You didn't even know you were using a did.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, so we've done the app here. Is
Do you want
there Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you want to see the code a little bit?
Let's take a peek at it. So let me just move this over and all right, I got this zoomed up here. Okay, so it's a Next.js app, like you said. So most of the stuff's gonna be in the page here, I guess. So what do you
Yeah,
want to look at first?
we can look at the issuer first.
Okay, cool. So
And
I'll zoom this
also,
in a
a
bit.
cool thing I like is that I haven't had to do. I saw someone write typical backender. I don't know if I'm a back end or front end dev. Sometimes I lean more on one and more on the other. But like, it's kind of what I found kind of cool is I don't really need to like create like set up a database and all of that. Like I can just um there's these methods, and I can show you later, where you can just
Okay,
say, "Hey, I wanna create this data, and I wanna store it in my DWN, or I wanna read this data." But I've literally done
okay,
it all on the front end, and it's, like, kinda cool. Alright, if we
okay.
scroll down, like, past
Yeah,
the basic ugly styles that I did,
yeah. No
um,
worries, no worries. Okay, so we got some
um
React code here, obviously, but okay, let's
yeah,
get
we
to
got
the
some React
actual.
code. Yeah.
Okay,
So that method's what I use to basically create a did. And let me see, maybe it would be helpful if you look and see what's inside of that did. Like maybe you can console log it and just see
yeah,
like, hey, what's inside my did? Because it's more than just the string. Let me see, issuer did. It's actually a whole did document.
okay. So that's when I if I just run issue again, is that what'll
I think so. Oh, it's in the use effect. So if you just refresh your page and
okay,
open up the inspect tool, you should see it.
okay, let's do this here. Just zoom in the dev tools for a sec. Okay,
Mhm. Did it refresh and do it? There
okay,
we go.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
So you could see
okay,
there's like a couple of things in here. Like you have like a public key and a private key. You have like which DWN or decentralized web node it's going to connect to. You have a couple of like details in here, and then you have
okay,
also that decentralized identifier. So just pointing that out as
okay.
like things you should look at or think about.
Okay, so there's a lot going on in here,
Yeah.
basically. And
Basically.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so yeah, I can and I see here it's linking to the spec because I
Yeah, it
guess
is.
there could be a version 2 at some point or maybe there already is. So like Okay. Yeah. So this. Yeah. Okay. And then yeah, basically all the stuff you need to do what you need to do, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Um. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Just pointing it
Awesome.
out because 'cause I'm like, I think it's cool because I thought it was just like a string, but there's like other details in there. Okay, back to the code, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no, 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 no need to apologize. Okay, so that's in the effect, like you said. So it's creating the DID for the from the issuer.
Yeah, and then I
This
wanna
is
look for oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, no, no.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you can keep looking at what you were looking at, my bad. I was just gonna say I wanna look for where we created the verifiable credential.
Okay, yeah. Is that's here, I guess, or
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. So the logic for it is really not nothing too crazy in my opinion, which I like. It's just like, hey, what type of credential is this going to be, and who's issuing it, who's receiving it, and what's the data that you want
okay,
inside of that credential.
okay. Cool, cool,
Yeah,
awesome.
simple.
All right. Yeah. No. Well, that's the other thing. Like you said, there's you're using the SDK, I'm assuming, like that's where you're getting all the
Yes.
stuff. So
Yeah.
it's kind of nice that you, like you were saying, like you're not sure if you're front end or back end or full stack or whatever, but basically building out the application was somewhat trivial because like the SDK gave you all the building blocks you needed to just put it together. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The SDK like abstracts so much of that extra detail that you don't need to know about. Like there's a lot of like cryptography going on, but we don't need to know about that. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
this other part is where like you sign, like where the issuer would sign and be like, I'm the one that issued this for sure. Like I'm not it's not like a little kid or something like that pretending to be to give out like oh credentials, but it's like me, the DMV that signed
yeah,
this particular credential.
yeah. Hopefully no children are working at the DMV because that would also violate all kinds of other laws, but
I couldn't
uh
think of a good example in time.
no, 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 it's all good. Hey, you keep saying DMV, and all I keep thinking about is Zootopia with the sloth just kind of slowly stamping the thing. It's like, just give me my DID.
That's how oh my god, the DMV does feel like that with the slot. I think
Yeah.
that's for the issuer section, like, that was mostly all I did is, like, had that creation part and then issued it.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then
And then,
yeah.
yeah, this is just the
Any
UI
questions so
rendering.
far?
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the UI rendering. Any questions
Yeah.
so far or, like, thoughts or anything?
It seems like obviously I'm still very new to this, but the flow like through the SDK seems to be pretty intuitive. Like, I want to create one and then I need to sign it. Like it seems pretty clear what the steps are. I mean, you're obviously walking me through it, but
Yeah,
um,
it's that's good.
yeah, yeah, like, and it's obviously we're building a web. This is a web app you built, so people do need to understand web tech. Like in this particular case, React and like web technologies. But like the SDK, like if I go back to the top here, we have this verifiable credential that
Mhm.
we use to call things, and then we have. I'm not sure where this is, but this is the Microsoft implementation, like you said, that's issuing it. So I guess here, like when we create the issuer ID, this did ion method create, it's going to create something on Microsoft's blockchain, whatever it is, because that's how they're implemented, like you said.
It's anchored to the blockchain. I don't
Uh,
know all the, like, details, but we added
okay,
in our SDK a way to basically create did ion methods or other methods as well. There's only one
okay,
last thing I guess I want you to look at, and then we can
yep,
just chill, I guess. And that's
yeah, yeah,
on the verifiers,
okay,
area. 'Cause they have it this part does get a little bit more in the weeds and complicated, but I think our SDK kinda made it simple. So there's
okay,
this idea of, like, a presentation definition and a
okay,
presentation exchange. Yeah. So
okay,
basically, this is where, like, the verifier or the alcohol vendor is saying, like, "Hey, I want to I want to figure out if this person's of legal age, drinking age, and then they specify like here's the few things I want to know. So somewhere in the code, I've created like a presentation definition object, and
Okay.
yeah, I'll
Yeah,
let
where
you
is that?
figure it out.
Oh yeah.
Maybe if you do like a control find and look for the words presentation definition, not
Okay.
exchange, but definition.
Oh, oh, here it is. Set is presentation definition. Here we go.
Yeah,
So
let's
go to
find like the
definition. Okay.
yeah. Wait,
Okay.
that's
Valid pre Is this
hmm.
it?
Maybe it's on. Go to line 77.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. So
Okay.
basically, we have this presentation definition, and they're like, these are the credentials that we're looking for. This is the information I'm looking for. I just want to know if you're legal driving, drinking age. And then I also took like maybe they want to know the city and the country just to make sure that like I don't know, maybe legal drinking ages change um
Okay.
per area. So if you like
Yeah.
maybe scroll down a little bit more, it'll have the city and country. Yeah. So like that's
Okay.
like the presentation definition. And then
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's just a
Uh,
JSON object. Mhm.
yeah. I guess this is kind of like this would be the equivalent of like say I was still filling out stuff on paper. This would be me like, can you fill out your information on this form? And that's what this is, and essentially kind
Well,
of like
but automated, because you're not filling it out, you're
okay,
not filling
this
it
part.
out by yourself. Yeah, when you do that tap and, like, you're tapping your phone or whatever, QR scan, it's just searching through your credentials for this information. It's like, I
Oh,
just need
okay,
to
okay.
figure out yeah.
Okay, this is after. I thought this was when I was filling it out, but that's the first step we went through. Okay, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense. This
yeah,
is just
this
more like here's all the info. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is to be clear, right? This is like the verifier saying this is the info I want to get. So they created a
Okay,
presentation definition, and then in the presentation exchange is where you'll tap, and then it'll be like, okay, does this match I think somewhere in here I have the word satisfy. Oh yeah, there we go. On 122, line
yeah.
122, it says, "Hey, one, does is this a valid verifiable credential? And then two, does this match the things that I'm looking for?" Oh, and they're like, "Okay,
Okay,
cool. Yeah, I'm looking for legal drinking age. I'm looking for this city and country." And then bam, after if it says it's um like yeah, it satisfies that definition, then you'll get like a true or a check mark or a confirm on the verifier
okay, yeah.
side. So, yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so just for like, because I know there's some people in the chat are new to React. So this part here that I highlighted, this is from the SDK doing the actual check. And then this is just some React code saying there's a piece of UI that I want to show that it's satisfied. So it's just setting a Boolean somewhere. But this is outside of the SDK from
SDK.
TBD.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
And
no, it seems pretty straightforward. Like obviously under the hood it's probably, complicated tech in the sense that there's cryptography and everything like you were saying, but as a developer consuming these things, like those are a lot of things I just don't have to worry about. I have like your team's created a nice abstraction to do, basically build an app with it. Um,
yeah, I think that's like the goal, like how do we make this easy so that people don't have to worry about all the extra stuff? Like
yeah.
we're just gonna make it that easy. Yeah. I
No, that's
wanted to
cool. That's cool.
do the phone thing, but I feel like it's a lot of information. I don't wanna, like, overwhelm you.
Uh, I'm good, like, doing it. I just don't know if, like, if I show like, I
Oh,
can
how
do
do
it,
we
like, if I
show
s
it? That's true.
yeah. Well, I could probably yeah. I think
Like,
if I had a
could
bit
you
more time, I could show it up, but, like, if I do this, like, can you see it
Yeah,
okay?
I can
Like
see it. Yeah.
okay.
And this
Yeah,
is
if you wanna do it, I'm totally fine doing it if you want to. I have no problem being thrown into the mix.
okay, let's do it. It's so just to be clear too, this is not a wallet that belongs to TBD. We're creating our own, and it's coming
Okay,
out soon called Web5 Wallet. But I was just trying out different wallets just to see like what would the experience be like. So
okay.
you can go ahead and like go through the like I guess sign up flow or whatever they have. I think they ask you your name and stuff like that just to create
Okay,
your
yeah.
wallet.
Yeah, okay. I'll switch us over to just our heads for a second here. So I'll just fill this out. Okay, I agree, I agree. I'm signing my life away here. Okay. Yeah, just give me a second here. And
Yeah, take your time.
da, da, da. Yeah, I was gonna ask you while I'm doing this. I can't remember when did you start at TBD? Because I know you've been there for a while now, but it's still somewhat new, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I've been there whenever you started open sauce. I've been there at a similar time, maybe September or
Oh
so.
yeah. Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
was me too. Yeah, I think no, you're right. I think we literally started the same day. I started September 18th. It was a Monday. I
Yeah,
think we
that's when
did.
I started.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've signed up. So I have my I'm gonna
So,
actually
and you have one
switch.
credential in there, right? And I think
Yeah,
there's some demo credentials that they like give to you. So I'm trying to like find the link for you so
yeah.
you can
I'm
try.
just trying to see here. I'll just put it up here. I don't know if people can see that. I might be able to
Oh,
share my screen actually.
it's very
Let me
I know I didn't
let
prepare you. I'm sorry.
No, 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 it's all good. I'm just trying to think of the best way to show this. Let's see. Um, Give me a sec to try and figure out. Well, we can do the flow and I can try and show after, I guess. So I've created, yeah, so I basically just signed up with I think that shows up okay.
Yeah, and then they have some like I'm trying to get the link to you. I'm gonna paste it in here so that you can
Okay.
just try out adding your own. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
just feel free to pop it in the chat or wherever. Doo, doo, doo.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
like
we're
text it to myself and then I'm gonna send it to you.
Cool, cool.
Okay.
So yeah, so while Rizel's doing that, just to recap again, so we built out a verifiable credential. I created like it's not real per se because it's not a real app, but basically we went through the flow of I filled out information from a pretend valid government authority, and I submitted my credentials, and they validated it, and we went through that whole flow. If I refresh this, there's three kind of actors in this. There's the issuer, which is in this particular case the DMV, the subject, which is me or whoever's happening to be filling out the form to see if they're of legal drinking age, and then there's this verifier, and that's essentially uh, checking if anything's been tampered with. So the issuer, like the DMV, is where I filled out my info. They verified it, me, the subject, and that's kind of where we are. And Rizel was also mentioning like the DID is more than just a string, and there's a whole thing about it here. If I just open it again, it's just it's a huge object in well, not just in JavaScript, but like wherever. I mean, I think for our purposes, it's in JavaScript, obviously, but yeah, it's a lowdown of all the things, which includes the decentralized identifier and like the spec, for example, like the V1 of it, which is like Rizel was mentioning at the beginning of the stream, it's a W3C standard, which I did not know that. I actually thought because I've only heard about it through like you or Angie or Ace. So
Yeah.
I just assumed it was something that TBD created, but that brings some more validity to it as well. It's not just like a new company saying I'm creating some new standard. It's a standard that I don't know how long it's been around for, but if it's in the W3 org, that means it's been sitting there for at least a few years for sure. So um,
Yeah, and it's
yeah,
legit.
yeah. Yeah, just like MC Hammer, too legit to quit. I don't know if anybody.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself there, but anyways, um, yeah, and yeah. So Rizel now is just trying to get the link that she wanted to send to me. We're
Yeah,
trying
I
to.
think oh, what?
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, this is totally like this was like a last minute thing we're trying, so no guarantees here. But I got set up with a wallet application. It's called Spherion. This is just one. I think you just chose somewhat randomly, or was there a reason you picked it?
Um, this is one that I saw like Angie try out and stuff like that. So I was like, cool.
Okay,
That's it.
okay, yeah, yeah, no, that's cool.
And it's
I'll
open
share.
source.
Okay. Yeah, let me open this here. I'll just pop it here. This is, you dropped this link to a demo. So did you want to talk through what this demo is, or is
Yeah.
this what I'm going to click on?
Yeah, I think you're going to click on one of them. Basically receiving credentials from. Oh wait, first, perfect. They kind of did similar to what I did, and they like created a fake credential that you could add into
Okay.
your wallet just so you can get that experience. So if you like scroll down, there might be a couple of links that you can try out, and then they're
Okay.
gonna show you a QR code. You can scan it, and then you'd be able to
Okay.
add it to um
Okay. That's
your
a
wallet.
video. Um,
Yeah, but these oh
let's see.
sorry. There's scroll back up
Okay.
and oh they have step-by-step instructions. Perfect.
Okay,
But
I can pick one of these, I guess.
yeah, one of those links.
Okay, let's do Spheron guest. I think it's loading. It's, I it
Oh,
looks like the page might have been loaded already. I don't know. Let me do old
weird.
school view page source and see what's in there.
Yeah, what happens? If not, we'll just
Uh,
try a different link.
oh, it says you need to enable JavaScript to run this. Oh no, that's never mind. That's the no script tag. Manifest. There appear
Hmm.
It appears to be like a single, maybe a single page app. There's a JavaScript here, but I'm not sure why it's a blank page. Let me go to another one and see.
Yeah, maybe a different
Okay,
link.
this
I
one's
think I
loading
had
up.
tried the future of mobility one. Oh, and
Okay,
that one's broken?
yeah,
Okay.
let's try this one. The future. Let's do the future of mobility. Okay, this one
Yeah,
works.
cool.
Okay,
Yeah, and you can
so
take your phone and scan that, I believe.
okay, give me 2 seconds here. Okay, so I'm gonna open it. People can't see it, but when I hovered over the QR code, it said open in Spherion. And okay, so now I'm gonna switch to just our heads again here, just so people can see it better. Maybe let me know if you can see that, Rizal. Um,
Yeah, I can see it.
okay, so it said it just added some new credentials. It said new contact detected, and it basically gives the URL of this site, ssi.future-mobility-alliance.org. And then there's a checkbox to say, I acknowledge this contact will be created as a result of credential exchange uh, initiated by me. And cool. There we go. Okay, now, okay, and then I'm going to say accept. Okay, it said contact accepted. Um, Next time
Perfect.
I'm gonna set up my stream so that I have an old phone. I think I'm gonna have an old phone handy whenever stuff like this happens.
Yeah,
Um,
I sprung this on you just so
oh no, no, it's all good. I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to see if okay, so it basically says it added a wallet identity, and
Yeah,
again, it's a demo, obviously.
yeah.
So if I click on it, it says Spheron wallet credential. So I'm just checking it off, and it's saying just accept it,
Mhm.
and I'm accepting, and then now it says I can share it. Now, let me see. Okay,
Oh,
actually, if
shoot,
I
it
come back
filled
to the
out right
screen,
there.
yeah. So I, if I'm, let me zoom up here so you can
Cool.
see it added here now. So it said almost there. Please fill out any missing data to claim your FMA guest credential. So I'm going to say share. Thank you, Nick, for providing the version. We're now ready to issue a new credential to you. So I'm going to say next. Okay, so now it says
Hmm.
secure your FMA, which is future mobility something, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna open it up with the QR code again and see what happens. Okay. And okay, so now it says, yeah, okay, a credential has been successfully issued to you. You can now use it to verify your identity whenever you interact with other parties. Okay, so basically, it shows now if I come back to us here, I have a card in there. It looks like Apple Wallet like now.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this gets back if we go back to the whole demo that you did with the DMV and the legal drinking age. This would me going to the liquor store saying, "Here you go. I would like some beer, please, kind sir. My name
Yeah.
is McLovin." Yeah.
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 No, McLovin. Yeah, that's exactly it. And yeah,
Okay.
I wanted you to be able to get that experience of like storing it in your wallet and getting that experience of like, okay, or that
Okay.
vision of like, okay, I would just bring this to like the bar or something like that and show them. I really
Okay.
wanted you to be able to store my QR code in the Spherion wallet, but I got to work on it a little bit more.
Oh yeah, no worries. Well, like I mean, like you were saying with the streaming, you always learn something or something you can improve. So the next time you do it, it's gonna be like, here, just click on my QR code. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I guess the one thing I wanted to ask. So I have like obviously this is a demo credential, but this credential means now I can say this is me um, as an identifier. But to kind of go back, like when we were talking about like Web3 and blockchain is um like does this mean I can have cash associated with this like as like a bank card, or is that not something that is really meant to be part of like a DID, you know what I mean? Like there's the like this really is who I am, but I wonder if like you would use it for that as well, like because like that's one thing that like crypto, because there's a lot of concepts like in crypto. There's the blockchain, there's your identification, and then there's like cryptocurrencies, and cryptocurrencies is something that's part of it, but it like in the Web5 world there's I'm assuming, but there's no cryptocurrencies within Web5, right? Because it's really more about identity versus monetary things. Is that correct? Or
Okay. So let me see if I can answer this as best as I can. So I think right now the way people have been creating verifiable credentials or using verifiable credentials has been things for like employment, education, and all that, right? But I don't think there's many movers or builders in the space that are doing it for financial transactions. And so I
yeah,
think what we're trying to do at TBD is like, hey, here's verifiable credentials to be able to prove that you're you making this
okay,
financial transaction. We don't have like we're not like creating our own coin or cryptocurrency
yeah,
from
okay,
yeah, we don't. We just have a an SDK called TBDEX, which is essentially enabling people to do financial transactions better, but there's not like
yeah,
a Web5 cryptocurrency. Yeah.
okay,
I
yeah.
hope
No,
that
no, thanks for mentioning that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, and also shout out, thanks Code Monkey 85 for the follow. Yeah, no, I just kind of wanted to just make sure that I understood that, like, because it's not it's not the goal of TBD. The goal of TBD is identity and like your data. And who knows, maybe at some point that data could be financial information, but it's not, it's more kind of broad. It's really just your identity, whatever that data is, you can keep it and own it. And that's kind of like the big lines of what your company's working on, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I don't want to put in words in your mouth, so
I would say we're still I would say the financial piece is still a big thing. Like we want to
okay.
be known for like we not we want to be known, but we want to disrupt the global payment system. So that's still like a top pillar for us. Not in
Okay.
the sense of like, oh, we have this cryptocurrency, but in the sense of, yo, TBD made it easy to send money from Boston, Massachusetts to Timbuktu. um,
Okay.
or exchange money back and forth that way. So we do. So it's kind of like three. At least I think of it as three things. It's like global payment system, identity, and data ownership.
Okay. Gotcha. No, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, that's no, that makes sense. Cool, cool. I know we've kind of gone through everything here. We still got some time. Still happy to chat. Like we always go on tangents on streams, but like I guess I I'll throw some of these questions out to you because like I know there's still a ton of people that always ask about DevRel. So like
Yeah,
um
let's do it.
it's still a popular topic, and I know there's a lot changing in the space. Like my my CEO slash coworker B Dougie definitely has thoughts on it. But I'm curious,
Yeah,
like you know, I guess the general question that I know you get a lot, but like for people that are interested in DevRel, like where do you think the best place to start is? Is it like yeah, I'll just leave it there. I'm not gonna try and answer it
yeah.
myself.
So sorry, I was just thinking, oh my god, I miss B Dougie. That was a great manager for me. So you said, where's the best place to start if you want to get into DevRel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say, you know, start by um choke learning in public, right?
Okay.
So I think a lot of people get like intimidated and they're like, I can't like create content or anything like that because
Okay.
I'm not an expert. But like even if you learn in HTML, write a little blog post or do a Twitch stream or do a video or something like that about what you've learned about HTML or even streams like this, right? Like I Open Source Friday was really helpful for me because
Yeah.
I didn't really know that much about open source, and even now at TBD, I'm doing another live stream. I don't know that much about self-sovereign identity, but I've been inviting
Hmm.
guests to talk to me and teach me stuff, kind of like we're doing here. And then like
Yeah.
that part of learning in public, that's kind of a good way to, in my opinion, start in DevRel because you kind of need to like build up a bit of a portfolio for people to encourage employers to hire you. You'll
Yeah.
they'll be wondering, are you I remember like when I started interviewing for DevRel, I was a software engineer already, but like people were like
Yeah.
giving me the side eye, like you never really did any blog posts or videos or anything. How do we know you will be good at that? So it's good to like
Yeah.
build that portfolio.
Yeah. I feel that, and I definitely agree with that. And like, even though I've never been a DevRel, like I think a
You
lot of
do
the
DevRel.
stuff I do. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think I kind of implicitly baked it into my role without people telling me to. Cause like when I worked at Dev 2, I was doing front end over there, but then I started the Dev Twitch stream, and what it like and it's still one of my favorite things to do. It's also why I like working at open source as well. It's just interacting with the community, and I definitely see there's been a shift. Like I don't feel like getting too spicy on the stream, but like I definitely feel like engineers doing DevRel, kind of like B Dougie was kind of saying, this is like how DevRel used to be. It'd be like you're an engineer and then you go give a talk and so on. And I feel like that's how I kind of operate, even though like we don't, because you know, but I know people have opinions about that. But I think I don't know. Just because like there's been so much going on in DevRel. Like when I was at Netlify, they went. I went through 2 rounds of layoffs there, and
Wow.
in terms of the DevRel team, it pretty much got depleted. I know other places, like even Vercel, I didn't realize, but like if you look, like Lee Robinson, who I've never met Lee, but he seems like pretty cool dude. He's like he's under product now, and it's no longer DevRel. So like I don't know if there's like a
Oh,
shift in all kinds of places, just like, and I've heard people, because I know a lot of DevRels, including yourself, and a lot of people have been saying like DevRel seems to be like one of the first places cut in a lot of places recently, but not the case at
yeah.
TBD. Obviously, like Angie, who I got to meet at Render ATL last year, who's awesome. She's a big proponent of it. She's leading DevRel, right, for you? Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
she's the VP.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think it's still important. I guess things are changing in the space, but you still it's the name kind of says what it is. Like your relationships with developers, because like that's how you get people to use the products, right? So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I have so
I
many
don't
thoughts
necessarily.
about what
Yeah.
you said. You don't miss it?
No, no, not that. No, I just like I I don't have fully formed thoughts on all of it, but it's just like because I've
Oh,
just heard so much from like lots of people I know. I know people have been laid off and stuff. So yeah. So but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. I have a lot of thoughts. Like one, I think what you're doing as an engineer is really good. Like, and I think other engineers, it they don't have to do it, of course. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
don't
that's
have
the
to
thing. You
teach
don't
this,
have to.
but
Yeah.
it's good. It's helpful for your career, right? Because now it's like
Yeah.
easier for you to get hired. Because I'm like, I think sometimes it's like, yeah, you could be the best coder, but if no one knows you are, like how that doesn't help you much. But if like a hiring
Yeah.
manager can see like, oh shoot, those are your thoughts on like React server components, you really truly
Hmm.
understand how this works and stuff like that. And then you're right that the landscape is changing. I'm lucky that the two DevRel jobs I've had, both
Hmm.
companies have really like valued DevRel. It's not been like an extra. It's been
Yeah.
like, oh, we
Totally.
kind of need this role. Like at GitHub, it was like they like really valued us. And then at TBD
Hmm.
too, like when you hear like the company talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, we need
Yeah.
our DevRel team. So I've been lucky, but it is changing. The meaning of DevRel is changing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it'll change to.
Yeah. 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 No, but it's yeah, it's great to see you over there. I'm hoping to I, I'm hoping to get to render ATL again this year. It's just it's basically dependent on if my talk gets accepted, so we'll see. Fingers crossed. But
Me
I,
too.
I I crossed my fingers horribly there. I don't know what happened there, but but yeah, no, it's yeah. I guess like what are you heading to any conferences or giving any talks in the like I know you there's the jam.dev which I'm going to be checking out after we get off the stream. It's
Yeah.
today and tomorrow. Is your talk today or is it tomorrow? I can't remember.
It's today at 3:55 Eastern.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, in about yeah, about an hour and a half. Yeah, okay, cool, cool. So definitely
Yeah.
check that out, the jam.dev. There's lots of other great speakers there too, but yeah, I guess what was I gonna say? Uh, yeah, it's been pretty cool to see your career progress because like I met you, I can't remember if I met you when I was at Dev 2
Yeah.
or yeah, that's when we did our first stream together, was it? Or was it? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think we might have done one there because we've done at least
I
one
don't know.
stream. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
and I don't
remember.
know what job you were at, to be honest. And I think
I
I
think
was
it might
trying
have
to
been
show
that
you
way.
GitHub Actions in Copilot, and Copilot was embarrassing me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Copilot was throwing you shade during the stream, and then on the plus side, I forgot to download the recording and it disappeared off Twitch. So then I was like, sorry, Rizel. I had like a highlight where it looked all good, but the actual recording didn't survive. So, but
Thank
anyways,
God. I was like, why is Copilot not typing anything? I learned more tricks after that. And I was like, oh my God,
awesome.
it's so embarrassing. But yeah, I don't really know which job I met you at, but I remember when I would write on dev.to, I would be like, oh my gosh, there's this person named Nick that works there. And I think I had seen you like in the open source community a little bit and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool, cool. Yeah, yeah, because I've been uh I've been contributing to open source for about a couple years. Not a ton, but like I helped out in a few things because like we have a web browser extension, and I used to work at McAfee on a password browser extension, kind of
Oh
like one
yeah.
password. So I had experience with browser extensions, so I helped get that set up. Um, yeah, so yeah, it's fun. And yeah, I've been like a big fan of open source for a long time. Like I only have positive things to say about it. It's helped me career wise. Like that's how I got my job at Dev, Netlify, and now open source. So and to your point too about like learning in public and stuff. It's not just because I work in open source. I think it's a great way to showcase stuff because unless you put your stuff private, it's like by default public. So it's another great way to show things. Like for example, like the stream today, you created a project. It's up on GitHub now. People can go check it out if they want to, and they can go mess around with stuff, and
Yeah.
just helping out in the ecosystem. But yeah, there's I know sometimes it can be intimidating initially, but I think, if you have a few good people helping you get in there, I've only I've only benefited from open source. There's always, like, it's the internet, so there's always somebody who's kind of crappy sometimes, but that's just the internet. So
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
cool, cool,
Open
cool.
source was like my first open source contribution that I made.
Oh,
And
cool.
I was like, oh my
Okay, I
God,
didn't know
this is
that.
so fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I
That's
had like
cool.
my
Awesome.
own like preconceptions. I was like, oh my God, it's probably horrible on there. I'm not gonna code for free. It ended up being
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, no, same here. I was super stressed out the first like time I contributed open source. It was a while back. It was it's either 2014 or 2015. I can't remember, but I remember just trying to be like, okay, I'm gonna make this perfect. And like in my head, I was like, I'm gonna put the code up, they're gonna accept it, and it's gonna get merged. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen. That,
Yeah. And then
narrator,
they
that's
came
not
back
what
with
happened.
reviews. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, like I think just because it was the first time, I didn't really know what would happen. I was just like, putting my best foot forward, and it was just it's totally normal to have feedback, even if you're doing great work, you're always going to get feedback.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, but I tore the band-aid off, and I think once you can get comfortable with just being uncomfortable, like, and being in public, it definitely opens up the doors for sure. But cool,
Yeah, I
cool.
like that you said that. I agree. Cuz
Yeah.
I think the part that was most scary for me was like, oh my gosh, strangers are going to critique my code. But
Yeah.
like you said, I ripped the band-aid off and I'm like, whatever, it happens.
Yeah, totally, totally. Cool, cool. Well, we're just a few minutes over time, but and I do want to be mindful of your time, Rizal. So, uh, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciated the primer on Web5 because there was some stuff I think I had some misconceptions about it coming in, and so you definitely clarified those things for me. I'm gonna drop a link for folks if they want to check out Rizel on the internet, wherever she's at, and I'm gonna drop a link to TBD as well. So that's the main website. There's a developer section where you can check out the SDKs, I guess, and any other info. Is there a Discord or something you'd like people to join
Yeah.
if they're interested, or is that on the TBD website?
Yeah, I'm trying to type it right now. I think this is
Okay, yeah,
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And yeah, Chris says thanks for the live session. Learned a lot about verifiable credentials. So you're welcome, Chris.
Yay.
That's all thanks to Rizel. So thanks so much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's it for today. Next week, yeah, next Monday, I'm gonna be hanging with Attila from Crab Nebula. We're going to be digging into Tori, which is an Electron, I would say, competitor. And we're going to dig into that with some solid JS. I have no idea what we're going to build, but I'm pretty excited because it's funny. When I was at Netlify, Ryan Carniato works there. And so I definitely had a few good chats with him, but I still haven't really dug into solid JS yet. So uh, pretty excited about that. And so I'll drop a link to that if folks want to check that out. Oh, did I drop it already? No, I didn't. Okay, I'll find that link. And yeah, aside from that, that's pretty much all for today, I think. Let me find that link real quick and just pop that in the chat. Cool. All right. Did that get sent? There we go. Cool. And I'll drop it over here as well. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. I'm rambling now, so I think that's a good sign to say Nick wrap it up. Thanks again, Rizal. This is so much fun. And if you don't mind just staying on for a second, and everybody else, thanks so much for joining the chat today. Thanks for the new follows, and yeah, great chatter in the chat. And we'll see you next Monday. Cool. Yeah, and just hang on for a sec there, Rizal.
Okay.